Hello, everybody. It's the Wrestling with the Willies podcast. What's it called? First time, I think, actually, maybe a couple other times, but this is like the full-fledged filming part of the Wrestling with the Willies podcast, where we're going to be talking about Forbidden Door 2023 today, where it's me and Jeremy. Like usual, it's pretty much like that's the main people that always do these podcasts, it seems like lately. So, what's it called? Yeah, so Forbidden Door. There's a lot of matches on here that looks like they did for like a kickoff show because there's like the first four I don't remember watching, so I'm assuming that was for the Zero or whatever they call their beginning show, like their kickoff show, pretty
Well,
much.
yeah, there were five in total. I'm not
Oh,
sure what
okay.
the
Oh yeah,
first
shoot.
one.
I forgot that the
Tom,
LIJ match in the United Empire one was still on it.
yeah,
Because I
Tom
mean,
Lawler
most of the
defeat.
matches were very short. It's like Tom Lawler going against Serpentico. It just seemed like that was the reason to have Tom Lawler on the show because people said, I think people like Tom Lawler for so far. I haven't seen much anything from him, but it's like the Mogul Embassy match where it was like Swerve to, and then I think it's like Swerve in the Mogul Embassy is Swerve Strickland. Then it's the something of what was it? I can't remember the name of the tag team that they're with. It's like not something of Destiny, but it's Gods of Agony or Gates of Agony,
Well, it's
something like
funny. I
that.
guess they had to replace the two other guys, and if you remember, was it imitation Brock Lesnar is what I called him before, Parker or
Oh,
something or
oh,
other,
the guy that was
and the
super
dude with
tattooed
all the
and stuff.
tattooed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Okay. Yeah.
replaced those two with that Toa Leona and Bishop Khan, but
Yeah,
then
and I think those
they
guys were
added
with the
Brian
Ring of
Cage
Honor
too,
before.
which it
Yeah, it
seems
seems
like with
kind of weird
AEW they can't figure out.
what to do with him.
Yeah,
Yeah, they put him in with FTW, then they kicked him out of that, or he left, and then he's been kind of just around for the rest of the time. But that's what I'm saying. It's like supposedly Athena they've been doing very well with. Like the other match was Athena versus Billy Starks. So yeah, like it was like Mogul Embassy went against Chaos, which still the best friends and Rocky Romero are supposed to be in Chaos, which is Okada's faction. Like I think he was the first one that started it, but I can't remember for sure. And then they were with El Desperado, which I've heard good things from him, but I've never like seen him wrestle. It's like El Fantasmo. I saw him wrestle too, and he seems like he was very funny. I think it was the first Forbidden Door where he was in a match with
well, yeah, I remember El
somebody.
Phantasmo in the first one, and we talked about him because we were surprised at how good he was.
Oh yeah, okay,
and
that's what it was.
and
Yeah,
but I guess he fought Stu Grayson in the pre-show. I mean,
yeah, because
we
this was
typically
like I
don't
think.
watch the pre-shows, so it's like,
Yeah. Like most of the time we always come in late and they don't tack the kickoff
well,
shows
yeah,
onto the pay-per-view.
yeah, which I think is kind of
Which
weird, but
yeah, it seems kind of weird now that they wouldn't.
I don't
But it's
think
probably because they sync that up to the YouTube channel. I think if
yeah, I
you
was
go
just gonna
to
say I
like
don't think
AEW's
WWE does it either. I don't think
yeah.
WWE covers.
So what's it called? And it's nice knowing Stu Grayson's back, but it's kind of weird with what they're doing now, where it's like the righteous, and then now they turned Evil Uno or Dark Order bad, or like kind of bad, whatever. But like I kind of am intrigued with what they're doing with the righteous, which is like the guys that they were saying was rumored to be homies with Bray Wyatt. Oh yeah. And might I mention we're a bit behind on these, and then just recently Bray Wyatt passed, where he was 36 and he died of a heart attack. Like our condolences go out to the family and shit. It's very heartbreaking seeing a dude that he's younger than me wrestling, and he was one of the most creative dudes pass on like when he's like 36. It's like just crazy. especially
Oh,
from what
yeah.
they were saying a lot, like about a lot of the, like him being away from wrestling because they were saying that he was having a lot of health issues and stuff like that. So it's very disheartening knowing that he was going through that the whole time. So,
Well, yeah, and you know, I harken back to it. Kind of reminds me of when Kobe passed, and that he left behind. I mean, and Bray was a little worse because if anybody isn't aware, he was with JoJo, who was in WWE before, like years ago.
yeah,
Um, and anybody who's a Dodger fan, she's Jose Offerman's daughter, but they had two little ones. So I mean little ones. I
yeah,
think they were 4 and 3 years old or something. So they, uh,
yeah. And
I
I think at one point JoJo was on an episode, like a series of Tough Enough, I think, or something like that to that effect. I think before
yeah,
she was.
I
I
don't think it
thought it
was
was like the
tough
last.
enough. It was a different. It might have been tough enough, but she was on a show where it was a bunch of females. I thought it might have been
Oh, it could have been
uh,
Total Divas, but I thought it was something like that, like she was on Tough Enough or something, because I thought she was going for, because I thought it might have been the same season that Evilise and God, there was a bunch of people that year.
yeah, she was
It
on
was like,
Total Divas the first season.
oh, okay, so she was just a, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably what it was then. She wasn't even tough enough then. Okay,
No, and I think
but
she was just an announcer, wasn't she? Didn't she
well,
like
most
do
of
the?
it was, yeah, like that
Yeah.
she was an announcer, yeah. But I think she actually was one of the,
Well, she
what
sang
do they call them when
the
they? Well, she sang the
entrance theme for the
national anthem or
Funkadactyls.
something. Yeah, it was like Star Spangled Banner or something that she sang
Well,
one
no,
year.
the Tons of Funk song that the Funkadactyls came out to.
Oh, she
She
did the
sang
song
that.
for that.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
shit, I didn't realize
I
that
didn't
too.
know that either.
So, well, we're getting a bit off topic, but
Well,
like
it was
then,
only just basically because of Bray Wyatt. I just wanted to
yeah,
point out that they had two kids and they were
yeah,
both
and I would
young.
say like
So,
they do have like something going on with WWE Shop right now where anybody that buys any Bray Wyatt merch goes directly to the family. So it goes to JoJo and the kids and all that stuff. That's from what the last thing that I saw from the other day was.
yeah, that's what I
And
saw too.
and I'm surprised with LA Knight like cutting such a sincere promo on Bray though.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was gonna be like other people like Seth and a few others, but like knowing that LA Knight, because I mean I don't know if he was like around it like him all that much other
Well,
than
they
in
had
WWE.
the right before Bray went out. They remember they had the
Yeah,
Mountain
they
Dew
had the
match,
pitch
the
black
pitch
match
black
and
match.
stuff.
So they may
Yeah.
have worked together quite a bit during that. But you know how when you're in an industry or whatever that you know each other even if you don't work like directly with them all the time.
Yeah.
So coming up they may have interacted more than anybody knows. It's like Moxley, I think, had talked about how he worked with, when they were in developmental, and John Cena, the same thing. Like, he came up with, like, Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton and those guys before they even hit WWE. So it may seem like it was only so many years
Oh
within
well, I
WWE, but
forgot that. I also forgot that LA Knight did say that he was in WWE for a time, so it could have been around the same time that Bray Wyatt was there,
yeah, that's
like
what I'm
in
saying. That's what I
developmental and
mean. I
stuff.
mean, yeah.
So yeah,
But anyways, it's unfortunate. Rest in peace.
yeah. Same with Terry Funk. I mean, that's another one, but like that one's
But
understandable
yeah, I
more,
mean he
just
was
because he died of
79. I
old
mean,
age.
yeah, I mean
You
it's
know.
when I always say those, when you live to be past life expectancy, it's unfortunate when anybody passes, but everybody ultimately is going to pass away. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like,
Yeah.
but when they're in their, late 70s, early 80s, it's like
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Any
say
time is
expected,
good anyway. Yeah.
but you
Like
know,
that's
but Bray
that's the
Wyatt
main thing
being
that,
late
yeah, knowing
30s,
that he
that's
was 36,
never
yeah,
expected to be. And when you see them that young, you always worry it's something else. Not just what it ended up ultimately being was just a heart attack. You just worry about it's something else, like
Oh
accidental.
yeah, yeah. But what's it called? So actually, onto the pay-per-view, pretty much.
Yeah, the only one we didn't talk about
Uh,
for the pre-show was, what is it? I can't even pronounce it.
Lij. It's
Is that
like
what it
it's
is?
very hard for me to say it because I always have
Los
trouble. Like
Ingobernables
it's
de
like
Japón. So it's Spanish, Japanese.
ingobernables. Yeah, it's what Andrade started. I think originally was like he was the one who made the group, and I don't know if it was a New Japan group at first, and then he moved to WWE, and then they just kept going with it.
Okay.
But Naito is technically the boss of it. Like, really. I mean, he's like technically the leader, but not the leader type of thing, because I think they have like a thing where everyone contributes type of thing.
Okay.
Because they never really have said that he was the leader of the group. He just kind of like has that swag that makes him seem like the leader. So yeah, like, and I love Hiromu Takahashi though. Like, he's the time bomb one where he has like super red hair, and he
Okay.
comes out with a stuffed animal, and like it was a scary time at first. This was a long time ago. I watched Wrestle Kingdom for the first time. It was like Wrestle Kingdom 14 or something. Like, I don't remember. I just remember Hiromu Takahashi was going against Dragon Lee at the time, and Dragon Lee has a move similar to, I think it's about the same as Swerve's, where I haven't seen him use it in a while, where they do like a powerbomb type thing, and then he tucks his head under, like, where his head is like exactly where his head is, where Dragon Lee's head is, and then he's supposed to land where it's like on like high parts of his shoulder, and
Mm.
he landed like directly on the top of his head, breaking his neck. So like,
Ouch.
yeah, so like they're like, I was worried that he would never wrestle again, because that's always a scary thing, seeing like somebody fuck up moves and then you're just like, oh, hopefully they're okay. That's the one thing to me that's different from like when I used to be younger compared to now. Is now I worry about the safety of some of these wrestlers doing some of these moves. Like, what's it called? So, what's it called? So it's nice knowing that he's still wrestling. But like, I think out of this whole pay per view, probably my lead, like the one that I wasn't really worried about. There was like a couple that I didn't even know that they were on the card. One was later in the card, which is Sonata and Jack Perry or Jungle Boy, and then MJF versus Hiroshi Tanahashi was the other one. Mostly because I'm not like huge on MJF. Like, I think he's a great talker, but like I just don't think that his wrestling acumen goes as much. But I definitely think, especially after seeing him lately, because knowing that these are filmed or done later than what's it called than when they came out, what he's been doing lately, I have really churned on MJF because I think his character work lately has been great. I think, I mean, it helps with other people, but
I was just gonna
it,
say it helps with who he's involved with, and we'll get
yeah,
to that like in the next AEW podcast that we talk about. I
yeah,
think because
yeah.
we don't really want to spoil anything for this one, but
Oh, yeah, I wasn't planning on it.
yeah,
But,
no,
like,
I'm just
so, like,
referring
this
to
one,
like the development of his
yeah.
character.
Like,
We
see,
could talk
like,
about that in that one.
this match just seemed like it was just, okay, they needed Hiroshi Tanahashi on the card. They didn't know where they were going to put him. So then they had him go against MJF because MJF needed somebody to fight. And I'm sure that they weren't going to have him go against Sonata, even if it wasn't a title thing, to make the, like, whoever lost look weak. So it
Yeah,
may, like, especially knowing that I think the week of, or something like that, they were talking about how Hiroshi Tanahashi isn't so protected as he used to be. But I mean, it's mostly because he's probably going to retire in a few years. Like, so when I watched this match, I thought that it was just okay. Nothing really stood out the whole time, like where I'm just like, oh yeah, that was a great match. It was an okay match the whole time, but it's mostly because I wasn't huge on both guys, and I didn't really care about the match either. So, and
Yeah.
especially it was 15 minutes, and like I don't know, I just can't like, especially now, I can't remember anything out of the match where I was just like, oh yeah, he did that one move, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, looking back at it now, it was just like, oh, okay, MJF needed to beat somebody. Who else is he gonna beat? Okay, Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Well, and that's kind of what it's kind of annoying me a little bit right now is that um, MJF, they're not. It's almost kind of like he's getting the Roman Reigns treatment in AEW almost.
Uh,
And
I don't know if it's considered the exact same, right? Like, because I wouldn't say. I mean, like they're helping him. I mean, lately, once ago, I've seen a turn in what he's been doing lately. But at the time, but like, I was thinking about this when I was watching the other pay per view that we'll talk about in like 4 episodes from now, I think, is and compared to Hangman Page's title run. This is like MJF has been clearly, he's tried to like set himself apart from most of the guys and made the title feel important, which I don't think that Hangman Page did. I think Kenny Omega did, and even Chris Jericho did. But like John Moxley didn't really do it. He was more like the fighting man's championship holder when he was doing it, and then Hangman Page didn't really. It's like he lost the plot when he was trying to do the reign, but also at the same time, it also depends on the writing they give you too. So I mean, like that's the only thing that I think is different between him and Page right now, and it kind of makes sense why they pulled the title off of Page like earlier than I thought that they would. But
I
that's
get that, but at the same time, it's I'm just referring to the fact that he keeps winning. I don't think he needs
oh yeah.
the well, and I'm not
Well,
going to spoil. Even this one made sense. Tanahashi. I mean, they're not going to give the title to a New Japan guy. So you
oh
knew,
yeah.
like, none of these some of these results could go towards New Japan guys, but like the title ones, you knew weren't. So if they were wrestling for the title, whoever was in AEW is going to win. I mean, unless you know that one of them was signed, and they were coming into AEW, you knew they weren't going to win. So, like, this was a good example. MJF, you knew was going to beat Tanahashi because Tanahashi's not in AEW. So, but he just cheats all the time. But I understand he's a heel, but he also
Yeah.
doesn't wrestle like his wrestling still isn't the greatest.
Well,
But I
that's what
do
I'm
like
saying.
what
It's
he's
like I think
doing.
depends on who he's wrestling against.
But I do
Really.
like what he's doing lately. And what, like I
Well,
said, we'll get with it in
yeah.
the podcast that we do for um, All In, because we'll talk about it during that
Well,
where
that's
I
why,
saw
like, it's kind
the
of funny
change.
with this one, right? And then we talk about the next guy where he, on CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima, where they were doing the Owen Hart Cup finals, or not the
It was
finals,
a
but for the
quarterfinal, yeah.
first round match. So, like, it's funny how they are both claiming that, or well, MJF is the actual champion, but then see, I think. Well, did he announce it? But yeah, I think he announced it when he first came back off of Collision. where he said that he was the world champion, but they didn't do
They didn't do
anything with
anything
it.
related to it. He
Yeah,
just
related
mentioned it
to
in his
anything
first
yet.
promo. Yeah.
Because, I mean, essentially he came out saying that he was, if you want to hate me, if you want to love me, then do whatever. So pretty much he's a full-on tweener right now, which it seems like what they're trying to build up to eventually is another MJF versus CM Punk match where it'll be like for a unification thing. I would
Well,
think, at least. But
yeah, I think they were building to that. I don't know how this latest issue, which we'll get to in the latest
yeah,
podcast or
because
later
there's been
podcast,
some
but
drama like the whole time with CM Punk, and honestly, right now it's starting to irritate me because I'm like, dude, I I love you as a wrestler, and then you're making it hard for me to like condone your actions a lot of the time because
yeah,
like
because I don't,
like
I don't
around this
understand.
time then he was taking pot shots at Paige, which he didn't really need to. I understand if you're trying to build to a match where like somebody's ducking each other or whatever, but like he came out and was talking about merch sales, like that Paige wasn't pushing merch and shit and that he could do it. Supposedly he apologized afterwards through a text message, which that ain't really the same thing. But now it's like constantly hearing like he's being a problem to people or like being an asshole to people, sending people home. Like it's like I thought him and Dolph Ziggler were kind of boys, right? Or at least uh homies or whatever, like friends, right?
Yeah,
And then they're talking about Ryan Nemeth, which is his brother. Like, granted, like Ryan Nemeth said some shit that probably was meant as a joke, but like CM Punk took it literally or whatever. So then he kept him from going to Collision at one point. And I'm like, I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should keep anybody from going to a fucking show, especially if you're trying to say that you want other people to take the shit from you. I'm like, if that's your like angle right now, I don't think you
no.
should be doing that shit.
Well, yeah,
I
but it
think you
seems
should
like
be,
everything, if anything happens right now and CM Punk's involved in it, he's getting in a fight with somebody.
yeah,
And I just don't, that's what I don't, you can't be just media reporting that stuff. I mean, he's
yeah,
involved in all of them. So,
yeah, and especially
so
knowing
it's,
that, he's what, like I think in his 40s now, right?
yeah, it's like
Should
little
be
kid
he should
behaviors.
be a grown man and get over shit. Like that's the problem. I think he shouldn't even worry about WWE. I don't think he should worry about other fucking people. Like his like well, growing up like working with children or whatever. Which also at the same time, mind you, Lufisto kinda came out and said like something similar to what CM Punk said, but like also at the same time, you're there to work. You know, like you need to help people as much as they need to help you. Essentially, if you want more money or whatever, you gotta like it's like a team effort a lot of the time. I mean, I know politics are involved into shit too, so but like
Yeah,
I think just CM Punk and everybody else that want to like fight him or like cause drama or whatever, where it's constantly something in the news about CM Punk or otherwise, I think people should just drop the shit and
yeah.
get over it.
But at the same time, I could see why he's kind of being a tweener because people are booing him. And
Well, yeah.
they've got to be booing
I
him
mean, it
because of
makes.
what
I mean,
happened with
people.
the elite.
A lot of people didn't like what he did,
Because, I
and
mean,
were like. But I mean, also at the same time, people just want a reason to hate him.
yeah, but
Like,
at the same time, one thing I wanted to point out, which I don't really understand, is I've been seeing him do this leg drop lately.
oh, I
And I
saw him
think
do like John Cena's leg drop
well, he did a Hogan
or
leg drop at
Hogan's leg drop or
Forbidden
something.
Door, too, early on in it.
Yeah,
And then he did, those corner 10 punches.
yeah,
But then uh, I think at one point he called out Kojima's name as he was
yeah.
doing lariats. Um, so it's like, what the hell? And then, uh,
Well, supposedly that was pulled back from like something. It was like an Easter egg if you look back on it. I remember I saw something afterwards when they were talking about that part where they were. It was from something else that he was.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like an earlier thing with him and Kojima or something. I don't
No, I
remember
get
what it
that. I'm
was.
just saying I don't know why he's been doing Hogan's leg drop lately. I mean,
Yeah,
we'll
I don't
talk
know.
about it in the
I
All
know
In
MJF at one
podcast, but
point was making fun of Hogan though, like especially because they like he did lie one time and say that he worked at a WWE or like in a U.S. event, and then he worked in a Japan on the same day. He said that one time, and like he said a bunch of damn lies. It seems like,
but
or
I did
there
think it
was like
was
a whole
funny when
thread
they
that
were
said
doing the
that he
Pepsi
did, but
sucks chant
huh?
at the. Do you remember at Forbidden Door when during CM Punk's match when they were doing the Pepsi sucks chant?
Oh yeah.
So I mean,
I
it's
mean, granted, I don't care for Pepsi anyway. I
no,
could
but they
drink
do
it if
that
I
because
have it,
of
but
Punk's tattoo. But I mean, it's
yeah,
just funny
yeah.
that
That's what I'm
um,
saying. A lot of the time, I think that they just do it just because they want to hate him. A lot of the time, but also at the same time, he is not making anything better for himself. He
no, but at
does
the
this
same
shit,
time,
and
this
then it's
was an
just like,
example where I think because it was the Owen Hart Cup match, you knew that CM Punk was going to win it. Do I think he should have? Probably not. I mean,
well, I mean,
I've not been
essentially,
excited
I
with
mean,
his wrestling lately. Let's put it that way.
well, yeah, because he's older. Like he's not gonna be like doing the same shit. But I mean, also at the same time, people would keep on wanting to talk about his MMA career and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, imagine you do the same thing. Like, imagine you do the same thing where you just start training and then you actually train or like fight fighters that were meant to be like fighting, like that were already fighting too. Like his first fight was with a dude where he already had 5 wins or something like that. So it's like, okay,
Well, yeah, but I mean,
like, I
at the
mean,
same time,
if you don't have the talent for it, you can't like have the talent for it.
yeah, I
You
was
know what
just
I'm
gonna
saying?
say, I think that's part of the issue was that
Yeah, I think he
I
just
think
wasn't that strong of a guy, and I think he tried. They probably offered him a shit ton of money, and he
well,
was
I would
like,
have
you
done
know
it
what?
too
I'm
if
tired of
depending
doing
upon what the
wrestling.
money was. I mean, I don't know why people expected a lot out of him. I guess is the kind of
Yeah,
the
I was
you
just
know,
hoping that he would succeed because I like CM Punk. That's
well, yeah, but I
really
mean,
it.
what were they
But I
doing?
mean, like,
Comparing him to Brock Lesnar, who was like a
oh yeah,
monster? I mean, it's not
two
the same
totally
thing.
different people. I mean, like
Yeah.
he's not even the size of Brock Lesnar, and you're trying to talk shit. So like, you already knew that CM Punk was going to be like winning this one. I thought he was going to win the whole thing, but like, turns out that that wasn't the case.
I'm glad he didn't.
Well, I mean, I think that's probably why he didn't though, is because probably because people didn't want him to, or they thought that people were going to boom them out of the building or whatever. But like, yeah, I don't know. I can't remember so much of this match. I thought it was good, but it wasn't like great.
Well, yeah, there
Like,
wasn't
mind
much
you,
to it. That's
probably
what I was saying. I mean, what I mentioned just now was pretty much almost what happened. And even though it went for 13 minutes and the
yeah,
MJF match went for 15 and a half, um, it just didn't seem like a lot happened. They must have been doing a lot. That they were doing probably a lot of talking. I don't remember like the in between stuff, but not a
yeah.
lot happened during the match.
Well,
I
that's what I'm
mean,
saying. I mean, like, it was a stiff match between them both. I remember that, but like, nothing stood out. Like, it's like, okay, the one main thing that stood out to me, which was fucking hilarious because fucking Daniel Garcia. I'm becoming a major fan of Daniel Garcia just because he's so fucking goofy
oh,
right
are
now.
you talking about the next match, the
Yeah,
Orange
the next
Cassidy
match
one?
because
Yeah,
Orange Cassidy, Zack Sabre Jr., Katsuri Shibata,
yeah. That damn dance that Daniel
and then
Garcia is
Daniel
doing is
Garcia
freaking
all were
hilarious.
in a match together, and fucking he shit that because I don't know when he started doing the dance whenever he came up to the fucking ring, but like
It
it
was
was
pretty much
so
right
funny.
before this. It
Well, that's what I
wasn't
was
too
saying. He
long
started
before this
fucking
match.
doing it where like, and then people were drawing comparisons to him to like Alex Wright, which even though the dance look exactly the same, but it's just funny, right?
Yeah, it's
It's just
still a
funny
dance.
because
I
he
think
comes
that's
out
the
and he
yeah.
does the dance, and then so like Orange Cassidy is showing that he's like getting beaten up the whole time. It seems like the whole gimmick with him with the Intercontinental or what International Championship. That's what it was.
Yeah, it used to be
International
called the
Championship is
Atlantic
just
one, right? And
yeah.
this,
It was
yeah,
all the All Atlantic Championship at one point, but I guess they said international that way he could go against anyone or something. I don't know. But what's it going? So like they're showing that he was like getting beat up too much, so eventually they're like, "Oh, how much longer can he stand?" Especially with this match. This was an easy way to like protect Orange Cassidy that way he didn't get beat up too much.
well,
Because I mean, I
this
like
was an
Shibata too, but
yeah, this was another example. You knew it wasn't gonna come off of Cassidy though,
yeah,
because it was like one guy was Shibata, who's the pure champion, and then Zack Sabre Jr. is the New Japan World TV champion. So the
yeah.
only one coming in now, he could have dropped it to Daniel Garcia, but I just didn't see that happening.
Yeah, I didn't see it happening either. I
Um,
think they'll probably give him a title belt at one point, but I don't think I think it's too early for him, kind of, unless they give him a tag belt. But I think if anybody should get the tag belts, probably at one point is Angela Parker and Matt Menard out of that group, I should say.
I don't know. Is it Matt? Who's the one that kind of the talking?
Matt
It's Matt
Menard is the
Menard, right?
one
That
where he's like sounds like he's yelling all the time.
yeah,
Yeah,
that grates my ears every time I
yeah.
hear him.
I think that's mostly why he does it that way. But
Oh, I know, but it's like
yeah, I
I
know.
can't.
It's kind of gives you
I almost have
explanation.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like the scratching on the chalkboard stuff.
yeah.
It's
So like that's why I say it's probably one of my favorite ones out of this whole entire like show.
well, it
Just
was only
because
11 minutes, man.
well that's what but like it was just funny. Like
I say
Daniel
that though,
Garcia
but when
because I
we
mean it was mostly Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shibata though for
I know, but
most
it's funny. I
yeah,
say that as if 11 minutes is short. When we talk about the WWE ones, you'll see when we talk about Money in the Bank next
yeah.
time that
Yeah.
all
So
their matches, I think, are probably under 10 minutes. And
yeah. So like this one was just funny because especially the part where Zack Sabre Jr. smacked him and then he starts dancing. Then
yeah,
Shibata smacks him, then he starts dancing. Then they keep doing that, and then eventually they start focusing on each other, so then he starts getting pissed off and he's like, "You need to include me too." So I think Daniel Garcia kind of like sold the whole match for me. And I'm not really a huge fan of Zack Sabre Jr., but I liked what he did in this match though. Probably
yeah,
because
I'm not
all
either,
the
but I don't see
working
him enough, so I can't really
well,
say
that's what
much
I'm saying.
about
I mean,
him.
like his wrestling style is like so securely his.
But
It's
I
like
think, if I
nobody else
remember
does the
right,
shit
though,
that he does.
yeah,
Huh?
Zack Sabre Jr., I didn't like very much in the first Forbidden Door. I liked him more in this one, though. I
And
remember
well,
because we
that's
were
what I'm saying.
talking
Yeah,
about, we were talking about that. Like, oh, he looked much better, kind of different, almost like he was wrestling a different kind of style than he did the first time we saw him.
yeah.
I do remember having that conversation. So
But
I
I
know
mean,
this is
also at the
quite
same
late,
time, it
obviously.
could
We're
just
doing
be
this.
because all the working parts in it.
Yeah, we're
You
doing
know?
this podcast in August when this thing, I think, was in June, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, we're about a month or two behind, which isn't really that bad. I thought it was worse, but there's just been
Well,
a
I
lot
mean,
of
it's mostly
pay-per-views
because
that have been
all of them
happening.
came out around the same time. Like it was
Yeah.
like within weeks of each other. So what's it called? So that's why I said like it was one of my highlights out of the whole thing. I don't know if I would say that it's my favorite, but like it was like up there, like out of the matches. I don't think that it was like the best of the year or something like that, but
Oh, no,
still,
not even
like
close.
and definitely one that I didn't really care about either.
Yeah, it was
Even
the
though
next
I
one,
like
yeah.
Sonata was Sonata versus Jungle Boy,
Mm-hmm.
but like it only led up to what they did at the end though, where
Well,
like
the biggest thing about this one was um, the chants for the ref.
yeah,
What, they were chanting for Red Shoes.
Which they always chant for Red Shoes. That's like,
but I mean,
it's kind of like Aubrey Edwards in AEW. Red Shoes is like Aubrey Edwards in New Japan, essentially.
Yeah, I was just saying that was the biggest highlight from this match because honestly, I don't remember much of it.
Because I mean, Sonata now is like where he was doing stuff. Like his whole gimmick now was pretty much he was losing a lot. Essentially, he was losing a lot. Then somebody told him to like really focus. They got him like I think it's this Dookie dude that's with him.
Yeah.
Essentially, they told him to like shape it up or something. So then he started winning over and over again. I think he actually like won the championship, and then he started being undefeated after that.
Yeah, the only thing I really remember is this is when Jungle Boy turned heel.
Like that's the main thing that I remember out of it because I mean like nothing.
This is when he became Jack Terry. It didn't seem
like it highlighted anybody, and it seemed like you could tell that it made sense why Jungle Boy turned because it was like the pay-per-view before this he went against MJF in the Four Pillars match, and then he lost. So it was like he was like, "Oh, I want to get a championship," so he wanted to get Sonata's, essentially. So then when he didn't get Sonata's, then he fucking broke, you know, essentially. Mm-hmm. And that's why it made sense where I think some people might have thought that Hook was going to turn because he lost, but like it makes sense knowing that Jungle Boy did. And especially knowing that after this, they had him do stuff where he's just completely done with the Jungle Boy name, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I think he came out in what looked like could have been his dad's leather jacket.
That's what it seemed like. Yeah.
I know they were talking about it that Luke Perry had worn a jacket that looked similar in the past.
Yeah,
but I don't know if they ever validated that or not. I know they were talking about it.
Well, that's the main thing. It's like, what's it called? I like what he's kind of doing now. I don't know if it's going to be like, Christian Cage or something like that. I don't know how much he's going to be doing. I know he beat Hook. I know that. But like, which I don't think he should have, but I get why they did. It's more like, it seems like the FTW championship, they don't keep with somebody for that long. And then they don't even have them do that many matches, so it doesn't really matter about who wins.
It's like that didn't happen during this, but the biggest one was during this was the TNT championship ends up being like that where nobody keeps it for very long, especially if your name's Wardlow. But we talked about that the last time. But it's like I don't even know who has it right now.
Technically, Luchasaurus has it.
Oh, that's right. But that's right, because Christian Cage is carrying it around. That's right.
It's mine.
Tells you how much the TNT belt is being really utilized right now.
Like Darby Allin was also talking about that he was like, it felt like it was trying to be like important at the time, but now I think it lost the plot a little bit. Where it's just like, it just seems like they're just there to be a placeholder, essentially.
Yep.
Which sounds kind of sad if he thinks that way, because I think he's like a 2 or 3-time champion for a TNT belt.
Well, like I said, it's especially if I'm Wardlow, I'm like, do I even want that belt? Because I'm not going to keep it for very long. But I think there was a reason he lost it, if I remember right. It had to do with his availability later or something.
And then there was the Elite with Eddie Kingston and Tomohiro Ishii, which I really like Ishii. And then they beat Blackpool Combat Club.
This was my second favorite match, I think, of the night, if I remember right.
Huh?
What? I think this was my second favorite.
Oh, yeah. And then Konosuke Takeshita and Shota Umino. So, I think this was only building up for them to, the Elite to get a win for them to get the Blood and Guts.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not huge when it comes to, it would have been kind of funny if they came out as the Hung Bucks, though. They mentioned the Hung Bucks, but like that's just a great name. Like a great team name. Instead of being the Elite, they're just like the Hung Bucks. But
But they're not going to do
yeah,
that.
Adam Page is so good though, but like I get kind of tired with the Young Bucks, but then Eddie Kingston, every time I see him now, I'm like over and over again, he's like one of my highlights for any of the matches, just because it was funny. I saw something where they're
Well, I
just
can
like,
tell you, I never know if he's actually kayfabing or not.
oh, I know. I think that's one reason why I like the fucking character so much, is that it's like it seems like him at a 15,
Yeah,
where
I
it
mean,
just
it's like,
seems like it's him all day,
yeah, it's like,
and then he
and
just fucks around with people all the time.
because I've watched AEW All Access too, and he's the same way on that show. He was talking to Ruby, but he's really good friends with Ruby Soho. So when
Yeah,
she came back, it's almost like he's a big brother to her, kind of.
yeah,
But he was acting the same way then. So I think I would agree that I don't, what you see on TV is him. Like,
yeah,
I don't think it's any different. So, um, but yeah, you just never know what, he's one of those guys that scares me because I never know what he's actually going to do. Like,
yeah.
seems like he can just go off kilter and just smack the shit out of somebody.
Oh
And,
yeah.
you know,
Like I think
so.
the main thing is that he's always been like a New
But
Japan guy.
damn, Moxley's getting on my nerves too. It's like every
Well,
time
I
I
mean,
watch
yeah,
him wrestle, he's bleeding. Like within seconds of the match starting.
yep.
Um,
I mean,
so,
that's the main thing. But I mean, I'm really starting to like Yuta though.
oh yeah, I was gonna say the same
Him doing
thing.
this
That
heel turn,
yeah,
shit has been working so good with him. Like, I mean, Claudio doesn't seem like it changes either way with him.
no, I
Like,
think
I
he's
think
the
he's a
same person
background guy
regardless. Yeah.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, out of like the whole Blackpool Combat Club, he seems like he's in the background the whole time. It's just like, okay, I'm just here.
Yeah.
Like, so this one was just to set up other matches down the line where it was even more brutal stuff.
Which
Which,
unfortunately probably explains why he didn't like go crazy over in WWE either, because he was kind of the same way there. So I don't know
oh,
if
like
that's just the way he
yeah,
is. Like if he can't just become the like, the superstar, right? Like
oh,
like
yeah,
the big time guy, because you can see where John Moxley can do that, and you can see where others can become that way. CM Punk, MJF, obviously, if he becomes a crazy good wrestler on top of his promo skills, the dude's gonna be unstoppable,
yeah,
and he's getting there. I'm gonna
yeah,
say the more that you see him, and we'll talk about it during the All In podcast, but that was the best. I'll just caveat right now and say that was the best he's looked to me
yeah, yeah.
in as many matches that I've seen him in. And
I agree.
but
Especially lately, his like fucking the shit that I've been seeing just off of highlights from AEW, like especially like one where he was doing a match against Konosuke Takashita. This was before he turned, and he did his top rope clothesline, and he fucking landed on his feet. I was like, and then I know, I'm like, because I thought it was just like somebody that he was wrestling against, and then I noticed that it was MJF, and I was like, whoa, I didn't think that MJF could do that shit. So he's starting to impress me lately. That's the main thing. Like,
yeah, I mean, and well, like I said, I'll talk more about it during the All In podcast because I don't want to spoil it
yeah,
on here.
yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
the main thing. Is like some people are being massive standouts right now, and it just makes sense.
but
Like,
in this is my second favorite match, but really there wasn't anything special about it because it was the same Moxley match,
yeah,
Young Bucks match,
yeah,
and then you threw in a few other people. But I
yeah,
mean, it was literally if you saw all these guys in the ring together, you would anticipate what you saw. I
yeah.
mean,
And
so
then
it's like,
yeah, and then the next match too was like
I mean,
you could
Young
tell
Bucks,
that
they throw
Willow was
super
with
kick
him.
parties all the damn time. It's like their
Yeah,
matches go exactly the same way, and it drives me insane. They put on good matches, don't get me wrong, but they're like always, there's like a way to them every time,
Like
and I
they
talk
only
about it
do
a
it. Yeah.
lot, but
Yeah.
but yeah, but I mean, there weren't like crazy standout matches during this card because like the next one that we're gonna talk about didn't even have to be on the card to me. But
Yeah, exactly. I think that they just put it on there as like an extra match because Willow, I kind of like Willow Nightingale, but like I don't think they needed to have this match. like,
no, and it was
like
kind of one of
honestly,
those
it was
things
like
that
only 10 minutes long, and they could have went 5 minutes, but then people probably would have gotten pissed off.
yeah,
And
and it
like
seemed like
no
thrown
chicks
together
on
because
the card.
I think it was because Willow got the New Japan Women's Championship from
Yeah,
Mercedes like
yeah,
not too
yeah,
long before this, so
yep.
they had to like figure out a
And even
women's
now, she
match.
lost it already.
I know that's
So I was
so.
like, dude, they're doing definite hot potato with that damn belt. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But what's it going? So, and then I would say probably the best of the night.
Well, yeah, it was, and this match
And
was
it has
also
to be the
almost
best of the
40
night.
minutes.
And probably going to be the like one of the matches of the year was Kenny versus Will Ospreay.
Yeah, and I
Like,
can tell you there was the most memorable part for me was that damn move where I thought Kenny was gonna die.
well, what the Tiger Driver
Yeah,
91, I think,
I
where he
think he
slams him right on top of his noggin.
yeah, I don't know how the hell he even got up from that. And
That's why I say, like, Kenny Omega, dude. Like, for all the flack that I give him for, like, his promo skills and shit, he is one hell of a. Like, I'm surprised that he doesn't get more injuries than he has because
yeah,
this dude. But he
well,
sells the fuck out for you when you
yeah.
when you wrestle against him. And then oh man, it's just like this was a back and forth thing the whole time they were countering it, like back and forth the whole time. And
Yeah, there
I
was
love
shit
the
ton of
Will
V
Osprey.
triggers.
I
There were a
literally
shit
talk
ton of
about Will Osprey too, and like talk about how much I love Will Osprey, and that I don't think that he would be treated the same way if he went to WWE. But like, I love his character work that he's doing right now, like the United Empire stuff where he's a heel, but then it's kind of like real shit. I don't think Don Callis needed to be even in the ring, like nearby. Like I don't understand why they're doing that with Will Ospreay, where it's like Will Ospreay is kind of like his contracted dude, which we could talk more about during All In. But like,
well, this started during this one though.
yeah,
Remember he ended.
yeah,
I mean, well,
because
we
like
can
that's
get
the
to that,
reason
but
why.
that's how
Because
Kenny lost.
because around this time that Don Callis stabbed him in the head with a fork when they did the cage match or whatever it was, where they did a cage match and he lost because he stabbed him in the head with a fork. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, it made sense why it was the longest match, and it honestly they could have put this as the main event, but like you could tell why they didn't. You could
Well, yeah,
tell
they
why they
almost want to
didn't.
build up the rest of them because
Yeah,
they
because
knew
I
this
mean,
one
but
would
like I
probably.
would be like hard pressed to have like oh, okay, like there was what's
Well,
it
it
called?
reminds me
I
kind
think they
of
talked
when.
about Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels. I think when they said that it overshadowed all the other matches after
Well,
that one.
what it reminds me of, and I'm trying to remember who wrestled after them, but when Mankind and Undertaker wrestled at Hell in a Cell and Mankind got thrown off.
Oh
That
yeah,
wasn't the main event either.
yeah,
And I can't imagine following that up because it's like, what the hell do you do
yeah. Like
to
what
beat
can you
that?
do to like top that shit?
I
Like
mean,
there's
so it's
no fucking way.
it's like
Yeah, there's no
no
fucking way, and
chance.
that's why I said that this was like, and you know, I'm like I knew just based off of like Will Ospreay's trajectory right now. I think his stuff is up on a upswing.
Well, how
Like I
many
mean,
V
granted
triggers
he's
did Kenny
had
Omega hit
the
during this match? Do you remember? It was like
what?
how many V triggers did he hit? He had to have
Well,
hit like 6 or 7.
Kenny does like 10 or 15 or something, and that's one reason why I like Kenny Omega, is that honestly he is very heavy hitting, and like he will just like, oh, okay, you're gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep kicking you in the face, and I
Well,
like
yeah, the
that
V
about
trigger
Kenny.
to me doesn't seem like the one that would hurt the most. The one that seems like it would hurt is
The
the
Snapdragon
suplex that he does, the
suplex. Yeah,
Snapdragon.
yeah,
I'm like, oh shit! That every time he does that
yeah,
thing,
because
it
he
looks like
lands
it.
it and he drops him directly on his neck.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying.
I'm like
That's
every
what I'm
time he
saying.
does it, I'm like, oh Jesus!
Yeah,
I
yeah.
almost look away when I watch him every time he does one, and I'm
But
like,
that's why I think that he is so legit though. I think
mm-hmm.
certain guys, like certain wrestlers that I see, when they do shit like this, like fucking Gunther is another one. It's like they are so heavy hitting, it makes it so much more believable that they will pin you. Like because they dole out so much punishment that it makes sense that they would lose or that the other person would lose. But then, like it was just amazing how much punishment Kenny was giving out, and then Will Ospreay kept coming. And I was like, that's one reason why I loved the match. Period.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So I just
like
wanted to
having,
point out there was a
huh?
situation at about the 30-minute mark. So this was the scenario. Kenny hit two Snapdragons on Will Ospreay. Then he hit him with a V trigger to his back. Then a poison Frankensteiner and a Terry Funk pile driver. Will Ospreay kicked out at 2. Kenny hit him with another V trigger and then tried to do an avalanche one winged angel, and it was reversed into a cheeky Nando's. This was all in one
Yeah, yeah.
part.
One series, yeah,
It's like and then they just kept going back and forth. There was a Sky Twister press from Will Ospreay that he hit on Kenny, and then he hit him with a diving forearm that was the
yeah,
setup for a Hidden Blade, but he missed it. But then
yeah.
Kenny hit another V trigger, but then got a Liger bomb from Ospreay. So it was like this just kept going back and forth, back and forth,
Yep,
back and forth,
yep.
and yeah,
And
this
then
was
one of my
easily the
favorite moments is when he puts him in the damn Will Ospreay puts Kenny in the One Wing Angel, and then Kenny kicks out at one.
yeah.
He's like, "Bitch, you ain't fucking putting me out with my move."
Yeah.
Like, oh man, there was so many good moments in this. That's why I say like some of the other matches, like you're like looking back at it, you're like, I don't really remember anything that's like other than a standard wrestling match. But it's like stuff that goes like this, where it just builds up and builds up and builds up, and then it goes to a crescendo, and then it's like you knew as soon as like he did the Tiger Driver 91 on his neck, it was over.
Yeah.
And then he put him in the Stormbreaker, and I think he hit him with the night the what's it called, the Hidden Blade like twice. I think it was. I know that at one point I think he did the running one too. But like that's one reason why I love Will Ospreay too. It's like his finishers are great, like all of them, and even I think he just started making another one too. I think he just revealed like another finisher that he started doing. And I'm like, dude, this motherfucker is inventive, and like him and Ricochet to me like are probably some of the best flippy shit wrestlers ever. And I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
granted, Will Ospreay is just a great all-rounded wrestler. Like he is so, like it's kind of like Buddy Matthews and shit. I would love to see a match between both of these guys too, because their styles are very similar. Like how speedy they are, how they could do strong moves too, and stuff like that. I would love to see a match between both of them, because it would probably fucking be great. But that's what I'm saying. After this one, then it was like Sting, Darby Allin, and Tetsuya Naito versus the Sex Gods, which is
Yeah, and I
no,
can
yeah,
do
they
without
did the Suzuki Gods. I forgot
yeah.
because Suzuki was in the group again.
Yeah, I can do without seeing Chris Jericho wrestle right now.
Well,
I'm
that's what I'm
just
saying. I
having a
mean, I'm kind of over with Chris Jericho right now because
well,
I
we'll
mean,
talk about it during All In, but it was like
yeah,
that damn song that he comes out to. It's like, okay, can we just stop it already? But now
Yeah,
he's flipping. I mean,
I mean, even
ever
if he
since
just
then, he's
changed it
not.
to a different Fozzy song.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point now, he wasn't flipping face. Now I think he's, I won't spoil it too much, but he was a heel during this, but I think he's starting to move back into being a face again
Yeah,
since then.
yeah,
But this was another one, yeah, because of what happened during Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, this was a forgettable one. I think the only thing I remember, didn't Sting do another move
yeah. He
that
did
it's like,
another
dude,
crazy
you're
move. Like,
64 years old, you need to stop doing this stuff. But he keeps
yeah,
doing it anyways. So it's like, and
like
then
he no
I don't
sells
think
no
Darby,
hair shots and all that
I don't
shit.
think Darby did one in this match, and I'm like, oh, geez, gosh dang it, because he normally, I don't even think he did a one when he does the sprinting suicide dive like he normally does. I don't think he even did that in this match.
Yeah,
Um, but I do know at All In he did a couple of moves, and I'm like, oh, geez, that had to hurt. But we'll talk about it
yep,
then.
yep.
But yeah, there wasn't much to this match. It only went 15 minutes. I say only 15, but you know, AEW is known for longer matches compared to the other company that we'll talk about next time. But there wasn't much that I remember from this one, and
Yep.
I would say during a lot of Jericho's matches, that's kind of how they go. Um,
Yeah. And Sammy Guevara is like the main highlight from them.
well, yeah,
Really.
yeah, and he has been
I mean,
lately. I
yeah.
mean, Sammy Guevara has been a highlight when it comes to anything with Jericho, even because he's been involved in a lot of Jericho stuff.
Yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it's cool now that they're on there, and especially Darby Allin, he's always highlighted on most of the pay per views, but like a missable tag match, that's for sure. And it just seemed like it was just a fodder for like just setting up, cooling people down for the end of the night, which was the main event, which Brian Danielson and Okada. And this match was good, but like also at the same time, I fucking worried for Brian Danielson the whole damn time, especially knowing he fucking broke his arm like halfway
Yeah,
into
he
it.
broke it with 10 minutes left and wrestled
Yeah,
with a broken forearm.
yeah, and he still did a lot of moves, a lot of shit that he didn't need to do with his fucking arm. Like, that's the main thing that I remember out of it was like, I mean, it was a standard like Brian Danielson match with Okada, but then it was like, then he broke his arm, and it was like so crazy. Like, it was just like I can't remember what it was. Like, I think
He,
Okada landed directly on his arm or something.
yeah,
Like, he
if
did
I
a
remember,
splash and
yeah,
directly landed on it.
yeah, I think that's what it was. That he went to hit a move.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. I think it was an elbow drop. Like,
Yeah,
Okada went to do an elbow drop, and he like went somewhere and landed directly like on his fucking arm. And then he was like, "Ow, fuck."
yeah, and then you could tell because Brian Danielson didn't want to do a lot with that arm after that.
Oh yeah,
You
and
could
like
tell
that's the main thing for
he
me.
was
It's like he
trying
was
to, but
still a
like,
badass, knowing
well,
that he was still trying to finish the shit.
yeah, he was trying to lock in the label lock with the broken arm. I
Yeah,
remember that
yeah,
specifically. You could tell he couldn't. Like, he was literally trying to grab his hand,
yeah. And then
and he
at one
couldn't do
point
it.
he used his leg,
So yeah,
and
so
then I was like, "Whoa, dude, what the fuck?"
yeah,
It just shows how badass fucking Brian Danielson is, though. Like,
yeah.
how you just sit there, and because he had to have been in pain.
Oh,
That arm
well,
had to have been on fire, dude.
well, adrenaline can do a lot. Like, he probably wasn't hurting that much at that point, but
Oh,
when he
true that.
got to
But
the
then as soon
back
as he got
afterwards,
back there,
he
then he
was
would have been
probably
like,
hurting
"Oh,
like a motherfucker. Like, he could barely probably function at the time, at that point.
yeah,
Because I've done it where and I'm not equating a broken bone to but a really bad sprained ankle, like where I had blood pooling underneath my foot,
oh,
right? But I played on it. Like, I played basketball on the ankle, like, after it happened. and it
Yeah.
didn't hurt at the time. But I tell you what, when I got home after that, whoo, I couldn't even wear a shoe. It
Mm.
hurt that bad. Like it hurt. So it's, I can say things about adrenaline that in the moment, it probably did hurt. I'm not going to say it didn't, because obviously he knew there was something wrong with it because
Yeah.
of the way he was using it. But at the same time, pain level probably may not have been as high as you would think because of adrenaline, but who knows? He may
Yeah.
have been in a crazy amount of pain and just went through it. I mean, some of these guys are so used to being in pain that, it's not much to them. But more power, I know his wife didn't like it. I know she
Yeah.
made a Twitter
Because
post
she
after the
mentioned
fact.
that. But I
Um,
mean, it's probably because she wanted to make sure that he could move his arm and shit.
well, yeah, I mean,
Like, she wanted longevity out of him, and he was just thinking about, gotta finish the match, gotta finish the match.
yeah.
I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
that was mostly what he was trying to do, like where his mindset was.
Yep.
Like, I mean, it just shows how tough some of these wrestlers are. At the end
Oh,
of the
yeah,
day,
yeah.
just
Yep.
shows how tough they are. I mean, within reason. I don't think that like Matt Hardy, when he cracked his head on the concrete and shit like that, I don't think he needed to wrestle like an extra 10 minutes. They should have just been like, oh, fucking over, been done. I think that they should have been like, oh, it was an accident. You don't expect accidents to happen, and then fucking cut away. You
Yeah.
know. But I mean, in all honestly, hopefully, Bryan Danielson recovers quickly and is able to get back in the ring and stuff like that. It's kind of like I'm worried about Big E too, because Big E's been like out for so long, and they're also talking about that there's a possibility that he's not going to come back either. So, I mean,
Well, I know
hopefully he does,
he's
but
been told by doctors not to, I
yeah.
think. But
Well, I
that
mean,
doesn't mean,
how many times
I
that
mean,
there's been doctors that always end up saying that shit, and then fucking
well, I
people
mean,
will
yeah, I
wrestle
mean,
for like 20 years after.
yeah, I mean, Edge and Soraya are two examples that, and even I think Bryan Danielson was told at one point he shouldn't wrestle
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, I mean, the WWE doctors, from what they were saying, like what he was saying from, what was it? I know that there was some, maybe it was a documentary or something that he was talking about. Like,
Yeah, I
there
don't
was
know.
something that he was talking about and how he's explaining the situation, where a lot of it was WWE doctors were saying no, and then he was going to a bunch of other people, and then they were saying that he could wrestle. Like, they were saying that he should. So then he was trying to show them, hey, they said that it was okay, and they're like, no, we're not going with those people. We're
Yeah.
going with our doctors, which is understandable. I mean, like, you're a Fortune 500 company or whatever, or like you're like a traded company. Of course, you got to make everything run by the books. So just in case, if Daniel Bryan does have issues later on or something, then they can't just be like, oh, well, you shouldn't have done that and stuff like that. So I guess if that's all we're talking about, I guess we might as well talk about the next podcast, which will be Money in the Bank 2023 edition, where it's from London this time.
Yeah.
I forgot
Yeah, which
exactly
was
where
like
in
on
London, though.
July 1st. I think this was on
Yeah, it
June
was like a
25th.
week after this or something like
And
that. It was
and
like
Money in the
real
Bank
quick.
was, yeah, July 1st.
It's like,
So,
what's it called? We were just talking about that. We watched All In, and then they were like, oh, yeah, 7 days from today is All Out. I was like,
and then
it's
Payback is
7
the day
days
after that.
later?
So
So
we've got
pay like $50 now, and then we got to pay $50 next week too. What the fuck?
yeah.
Like
But
10%.
so our next podcast will be WWE Money in the Bank,
Yep.
and then
then
followed by SummerSlam,
So
and
yeah,
then All In.
yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, especially let us know like if you like the video podcast more rather than just the audio format, because we were just doing the audio format for the longest time. It seems like I need to get like a better setup for everything too. So, like lately, I've just been running it off of my phone. So,
Yeah, but
so
yeah, and check out our website that has all of our content on it. So all of our YouTube videos, our reviews that we do, our
yep,
podcasts, every single one of them are on our website. So if you want to access any of our content at theheartofgeek.com, you'll find all of it. So
Yep.
it'll
And
link
then,
directly to our YouTube
yeah.
and our podcast platforms and stuff like that. So,
Yep. Like, pretty much everything. I got to do more reviews and stuff like that, too, in the next few days, but that will just be another thing. So, with that in mind, everybody, you guys have a nice night, and we'll talk to you in the next podcast.
see ya.
Peace.